Hey, many blessings, my darling. So this is my new moon report for the next lunar tide that's coming now, which is going to be in Aquarius to begin with. So welcome, welcome. So I'm Rebecca. This is my report. So I'm going to jump straight into sharing a screen with you all because I've been very creative this cycle so far. We're in the dark of the moon now, you see, and I was born on the dark of a moon. So this is my lunar return each cycle. So I get very creative around this time. Um, so yeah, that's something to look into as well. If you find out the day of the lunar cycle that you was born, that can be a peak time in your creative juices, and you can often, ovulate as well again around that time. It's another thing to take into account. But anyway, this is the new lunar cycle. So you can see we've got our new moon in Aquarius, which will be on the 20th of February at 7:05 in the morning, and that's in GMT time zone. So yeah, all these times are for the GMT, which is in the UK where I am. And then our first quarter moon will be on the 27th in Taurus at 8:05 in the morning. And then the full moon will have another full moon in Leo. Um, Although last new moon was on the Cancer Leo cusp, full moon even. So yeah, full moon in Leo on the 7th of March at 12:40. And then the last quarter moon will be in Ophiuchus on the 15th of March at 2:08. So something that has really grabbed my attention for this cycle is that the the lunar quartz are journeying around the royal stars. So there's four royal stars, which I've spoken about a lot in the past. And so they're like the four towers or the four pillars that are holding the universe together. And some traditions believe that they are the guardians of the sky, also connected to like announcing changes in the seasons and things like that. So they're also connected to angels. So they have an archangel that they're connected to. Um, so I really, yeah, I really honor and respect the royal stars as like, yeah, I see them as guardians. So each of our quarters, so our new moon, our first quarter, our full moon, and our last quarter, they're going to be quite close to the royal stars. So this, we could say, in a way, it's activating. Yeah, it's activating the royal stars, this whole cycle. And um and like I was saying about how they announce changing the seasons, I feel like this whole cycle is announcing change. And Saturn has just moved into Aquarius just yesterday. And then Pluto is going to be moving into Capricorn on the 22nd of March. So, in a way, that this lunar cycle, in the way that it's aligning with the royal stars, it's like it's announcing these great changes that are coming. So, that's just something that I felt. So yeah, I wanted to share that with you. So this is yeah, just my little creative thing that I've been doing. So you can save this if you like. I've put it on my Instagram as well. So you can keep a note of these dates. That's kind of why I did it, and because it looks pretty. So yeah, I hope you're all doing well. And I've got this picture behind me, which is of a very special place in New Zealand. So I travelled New Zealand and I lived in New Zealand for, oh, maybe like 5.5 years or something. Um, and this place is called the Rewaka Resurgence. It's the source of the river. It's the source of one of the most beautiful, clearest, gorgeous rivers in New Zealand. And so I actually, when I went to this place, it's a holy place. It's a place that the Maori people honor and respect as like holy water, and they go to the source, and the source is where they receive healing, and there's been miraculous things that have happened. People have healed all kinds of things in these waters. So, and there's also a source of the river Axe, which is called Wookie Caves, which is really close to me, which I went to just recently as well. And so I'm receiving so much from these places that I've been visiting, and when I went here to this place in New Zealand, like I went in these waters, and I was actually like, oh my gosh, like I felt quite scared because it's so dark in the waters, and it goes down, it's a cave. I didn't swim right down, but I did bathe in the waters, and there was nobody there. But then I felt afterwards like so clear and so light and so free. And I just felt lots of fairy energy and magical energy from bathing in these sacred waters. So the reason I'm sharing all of this with you is because, I connect the Aquarian energy as the sacred waters. It's like the fountain of life, the water of life, and I really see like the Aquarian energy as the source. We also have the Eye of God, or the Helix Nebula, which is in the constellation Aquarius, which is where the new moon will be, very closely aligned to, and also the Royal Star of the North, Foretells, which is the mouth of the southern fish, connected to Gabriel, connected to the wisdom keeper of the like the magical, wizardy, witchy energy. So I'm going to jump into the live sky anyway to show you all. So I'm going to go over to Stellarium Web. So let's change the date here. So we're going to change the date to the 20th. In the morning, 7 in the morning. Okay, so many of you have been following me as well, so you know that I like to jump into the sky because we can see so much, and actually, yeah, we receive so much from looking. And I've kind of stopped saying now, people say, what type of astrology do you use? And I've stopped trying to describe it. It's just the sky. It's the actual live sky as it is today. That's the astrology I use. It doesn't have to have any other fancy name, really. So anyway, there you can see this is the new moon. Where is the moon? There she is, right there. You can't see because it's black, because it's a new moon. It's aligned with the sun. So, and also you can see Saturn here as well. So this is a new moon, a new lunar cycle, which is aligned to Saturn. They've both moved into Aquarius now. So we are in Aquarius season. So it's really worth looking into, what is Aquarius? What is Aquarius to us? So this is going to be a very interesting cycle because it begins with Saturn, and Saturn has just moved into Aquarius. He's been journeying through Capricorn for the last few years, and he'll be spending a few years in Aquarius now. So, it's really going to be a big few years in terms of structures that we will be creating and building that are aligned with the Aquarian way. So good questions to be asking around the time of this new cycle, is what do we want to build? What do we want to build? And Saturn is going to help with this, So this could be, you know, we could build our talents and gifts. It could be, you know, building actual physical things, communities, or, you know, I really feel like the Saturn energy being in Aquarius, you know, it could bring lots of innovations. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius. Uranus, we connect with like lightning and electricity and this kind of like unexpected changes. You know, so Saturn being in Aquarius is quite an interesting energy for him, you know, because he's quite traditional, quite steady, all about time. So him in Aquarius, it's like it's really going to help us to really find structures in that extraordinary, you know, to build structures that are innovative and progressive and that have the whole collective in mind. You know, we could be seeing structures and things being created that are completely, you know, unexpected or extraordinary, things that will be revolutionary in terms of yeah, energy. You know, water of life, it's the fountain of life. We could be seeing like electric or water or energy structures being made, you know, sustainable new structures. That's what I've been feeling with this Saturn going into Aquarius. So all that's coming through, you know, it's like it feels like collaboration as well and working together rather than, you know, wanting to do it all by ourselves, but, you know, weaving together in groups, coming together as community to build structures that are, you know, for the collective, for our future, for our children, you know. So yes. Coming back to formal heart, the royal star of which is connected to, yeah, the mouth of the southern fish. You can see this is the Pisces Ostrinus. Yeah, so this is the southern fish anyway. And so formal heart is drinking from the fountain of Aquarius. It's drinking from that water of life, you know, that source of the river. And in doing that, you know, it's becoming young again. It's becoming renewed. It's healing. It's also formal heart is actually also connected to like extraordinary talents and gifts, you know, especially in the areas of arts, music, writing, science, spirituality, you know. So this new cycle, you know, and I've been saying about what we want to build, you know, it could be building these our extraordinary talents and gifts that are inside of us, and, you know, really exploring them and strengthening them. And, you know, we could be strengthening our psychic and intuitive abilities. And yeah, it could be feeling quite inspired by magic. And that I see, as I've shared to you before, you know, that this part of the sky, when we are gone through Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius, it's the winter. So when I connect to the energy of Aquarius, this is the crone, this is the wise elder, you know, and I've connected Capricorn, the wise old goat, you know, to Merlin, the wizard. And so Aquarius to me is more like the Lady of the Lake. And Aquarius is like the Lake of Avalon. You know, I live in Avalon. It's the Glastonbury Arthurian legends are coming through now. So let's tune into that, you know. So this part of the sky is like that lake. It's like that, the mother's cauldron or the womb even. So I'm just going to look up the helix novella, which is the eye of God, it's also called. So that's right here. Can you see it? Let's zoom right in. It's an eye of God. Oh, you know, I get tingles just talking about this. So this is the constellation Aquarius, and look where the new moon is. you know, it's right above it, the sun as well, and Saturn. So, you know, I've been tuning into this so much, this eye of God, and I was drawing it yesterday. And you know, in some traditions, you know, we can make an eye of God, which is like a cross, and it's got the center point, which is the black hole, which is like the cervix, you know. And so actually I connect the Aquarian energy as like the cosmic womb, or the eye of God, the cervix of God, you know, which, you know, we go to these waters. Capricorn, the old man, climbs the mountain, or he swims. He's a sea goat, right? So he's swimming up the mountain, and or whatever, you know, he's swimming up the birth canal. He's swimming up the yoni, the vulva, and he's coming up into the womb, and he drinks from the fountain of life, these waters, and he becomes young again. So he becomes the young child in the womb, the baby in the womb, which is what I connect the Pisces energy to, which is the next constellation on the ecliptic. Interestingly as well, like when you look at the constellations that are around this, we've got a sculptor constellation, and Grus, which is it's actually a crane, or it's like, you know, the big birds with the long beak, which they are connected to bringing babies. You know, you see them with the baby hanging in their sack from their long beak. So, you know, like the energy of this place in the sky, to me, it's like the old man drinks from the fountain of youth, becomes young again, goes back to being a child in the womb, and then the bird, you know, delivers that child to whichever womb it's supposed to be in, or whatever, you know. But you know, this is just the way that my visions work, you know. So I go with it because, you know, I can see some things, you know, my lens is very vivid. And so yeah, it's really good for me just to share that which I'm visioning and seeing, and see if some of it, you know, relates to you. Also, Aquarius is being connected to Enki, which is a very ancient god. And Enki was pictured with a big vase. And so this is the water of life, you know, and actually it's also connected to Aquarius being the mother of Ophiuchus, you know. So Ophiuchus and Aquarius are connected, and I see that the Ophiucan, the serpent of Ophiuchus, is connected. It's like the river that returns back to the source, if that makes sense. So when Ophiuchus is taken out of the wheel that we're using, as you know, in the mainstream astrology, you know, it's like actually when we re-plug our river back to the source, it's like we can drink from that fountain of youth and come back to our talents, our gifts, our music, our writing, our science, our spirituality. We can really strengthen our psychic and intuitive abilities so we can be our fullest potential. We can be who we're here to be, you know, and we're not starving, you know, we're connected to source, to the eye of God, you know, which is here in this constellation. So this constellation is really important to, you know, many traditions going back in time. And you know, I saw that Aquarius, I've been doing a bit of research into, you know, the old stories and histories around Aquarius connected to Anu as well. And so Anna being grandmother of Jesus, Anna being the grandmother, you know. And I said about this energy of the Lady of the Lake as well, and that cauldron could also be like Baba Yaga, or Hecate, you know. So, and in the astrology that I use, Aquarius represents the 13th house, which is the house of the hidden. So, you know, the stories of the missing grail, you know, in Arthurian legend, and how they're searching for the grail. It's because it's in the 13th house, it's in the house of the hidden. And we can't necessarily see that which is hidden, you know. So the grail being hidden, it's like the source, or the eye of God, the source of the water of life has been hidden. So when we recover it, when we find the grail, it's like we can always drink from this fountain of life, from this fountain of youth. We can, pour it into our whole being. It's like such a healing thing to do. And it's like, then we will know we always have enough. We will know that we are always fed, like the fish drinking. It knows that it's always going to have enough because it's, sitting there at the bottom of this fountain that's just like infinite. And the Aquarian energy is infinite, it's pouring down for us to receive it. So, taking that all into account for this new lunar cycle and what it could mean for us, what it could mean for us as a collective, for the planet. So Saturn moving into these stars, it's like, can we create structures from this fountain that are going to hold everything together? The royal star of the north, we are holding something together. So this is about creating a structure that will, anchoring in the four pillars of the sky, the north, the south, the east, and the west, that are going to create a solid foundation which comes from the source. So we're starting with this new lunar cycle at the source. The source of the river is Aquarius. It's the fountain of youth. It's where we go to fill ourselves up, to replenish, to be rejuvenated, to become young again, to have energy, So this is what I believe, So this is where the cycle is beginning. So as we're moving through this lunar cycle, and we have our first quarter moon, which is aligned to the royal star in Taurus of the east, which is Aldebaran. And then the full moon will be quite close to Regulus, which is the royal star in Leo. And then the royal star Antares is in Scorpio. And the last quarter moon will be really close to Shaula, which is a very powerful star, which I spoke about many videos ago, which is in the west. So each point of this lunar cycle, when it gets to its quart, is at the gate. So we could see this whole lunar cycle as a cycle of announcing change from the guardians in the sky, tuning into the pillars that are holding our reality together, and this place of the wisdom of Aquarius, of the crone, of the wise one, this is where we start. This is where all things are born from. All life begins in the womb, so this is where we're beginning. So this feels like a really powerful place to be beginning this new cycle. So I'm going to jump over into the chart. I think that's all I want to share. Is there anything else before I jump away? Drink some water. Yes, hydration, very important. New moon in Aquarius. Okay, here we are, everyone. So you can see that the sun and the moon here are at 3 degrees of Aquarius. The number 3 is the Trinity. So as I spoke to you last cycle, I think around the Vesica Pisces and the Capricorn being one side of the Vesica and the Aquarius being the other side. And what is created is the Pisces, is the Trinity. So these three, I believe, are like symbolic of the Trinity, so it's the coming together of the father, the mother to create, and children, babies. So maybe the stars, all they're showing us is around creation, something to consider. So yeah, the Trinity, the three, it's yeah, coming together of the masculine and feminine inside of us, you know. And Aquarius is often considered to be androgynous, so um it is like, I feel like it's the combination of all things to create life, and the drawing in of all parts of us to become whole. um Saturn is at 0 degrees of Aquarius. So Saturn is resetting. You know, he's in the womb at the moment of Aquarius. He's at the very beginning. And like I said, where all things come from the womb. So this is a really, you know, powerful beginning for this cycle. I've also noticed as well, Pluto obviously is going to be moving into Capricorn 22nd of March. So that's next cycle. And at the moment, he's squaring the nodes. So the South Node is in Virgo, which has just recently moved into Virgo. The North Node is in Aries. So the North Node will be shifting into Pisces pretty soon. I can't remember the date. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, so you can see there's a T-square that's going to Pluto. So this is going to be interesting, you know. This is transforming, you know, our past and our future. It's bringing like so much death to all that which needs to die in us. All these things that are ending, culminating, completing, you know, so that we can move forward into our North Node or our destiny. Um, So this, you know, this is where the cycle is beginning, you know, with Pluto and Saturn really strong in what they are sharing with us. And it feels to me around lots of inner change, lots of you know, because we're moving from winter into spring now, you know, in the northern hemisphere. But even for those of you who are in the southern hemisphere, you're moving into from summer into autumn, you know. So it is a changing time wherever we are in the world, you know. I don't know so much around the center of the planet, the places that are always hot, or, you know, the places around the edges where it's always cold. I don't know so much about that. I live in quite a seasonal way of being, I guess. So this is because that's what's happening on the lands that I'm on. So I like to reflect the seasons that are happening in my own being, in my own cycle, and in the cycle of the land and the cycle of the stars, and creating the synergy between them all, you know, and seeing how everything is connected. And I feel like these are the structures and systems that, you know, we have become disconnected from, you know, in so many ways. And how can we reconnect with, you know, the structures of the cosmos, you know, and the universal structures, and the galactic structures, and how everything is, you know, geometric and symmetric. And you know, I was thinking of sacred geometry there, you know, and how there's so much that even in all the plants and even in all of the water particles, when they vibrate, they're all like geometry, you know. So this is the structures of the universe, you know. So when I'm thinking of Saturn in Aquarius, I can just see like this vibrating water particle, which is like, oh my goodness, like the power of our intention. You know, some of you may have heard of Dr. Emoto, and he was saying prayers to water, and it changed the structure of the water. So we have the power with our intention to change the structure, Saturn, of our water, Aquarius. So, wow. I didn't know I was going to say that. But there you go. This is the thing. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth until I'm here in front of the screen. And we've got lots of Pisces energy as well. Water, water, water. So the dream, Neptune, Venus, the heart of the water, the dream of the water. We could be feeling very watery at the moment. And yeah, what could we be doing now? What is water? Water is life. Drinking more water, cleansing ourselves in sacred water, going to beautiful rivers in the wild nature and bathing ourselves, cold swimming, wild swimming, all of these kind of things, reconnecting to the water in ourselves, and the source of our river, the source of our river and our creation. It's where everything is created. So we're returning this cycle, we're returning to our source. We're returning to the eye of God that's inside of us. And in doing that, we're reconnecting to these extraordinary, completely unique parts of us that, may have been hidden in that holy grail, that it's tapping into that fountain of our life, to fill us back up again. So, wow. What else do I want to share about? So there is a T-square that is between Pallas Athena and Gemini. Oh, she's the voice of justice. She's the voice of truth. And she knows how to put things together. She's really great at creating structures. Oh, yes. So there is a voice for structure here. And, the structure the T-square here is like with Ceres. She's the mother energy in Virgo, very much around healing, around herbs, around health and well-being, and she's coming down to form this T-square with all of this little stellium in Pisces. So it feels like there's lessons here around healing, around our health, around well-being, around truth, around our voice. So Black Moon Lilith is in Cancer, and she is in trine to Chiron and Jupiter and Juno and Vesta. So, I feel like there is something that there's healing is available to us, but there's lessons there too, with the T-square, with Pallas Athena and Ceres. So, the lessons in healing that are coming, it can be to do with our fears of abandonment, our fears of loss, our fears around our security and our emotional well-being, And so Black Moon Lilith is opposing Mercury as well in Capricorn, so it feels like there's something around our voice and healing, or our mind and our thoughts, and this patterning that, I was talking about Pluto. He's so close. He's so close to going into Capricorn now. So he's like right at the end of Sagittarius, about to move into a whole new world. And so he's T-squaring the nodes and he's saying, okay, what do we believe? What is true to us? And I need to transform. We need to transform and let go of the past, South Node in Virgo, to do with feeling like we have to be perfect, or that we have to like clean our act up, or whatever it is, like I feel like this kind of energy of Virgo, it could feel like this kind of letting go of the past to do with our physical, earthly, how we want things to be very controlled or very perfect, and actually the North Node in Aries close to Uranus, it's not perfect, it's chaos, it's a mess, so I guess there could be this belief, from the past, that things have to be a certain way. There's an element of control here. Sometimes the Virgo energy can be quite controlling. It has to be like this. I think of OCD, like obsessive compulsive. We need to have it this way for things to be perfect. So Pluto T-squaring that, it's like, oh, let's add a bit of chaos into that idea, into that belief, to bring us more into the Aries energy, which is very fiery, very quick. It's very fast, very revolutionary in its leadership, so it feels like a breaking out of these old ideas of the past and transforming them into creating a new truth. The Aries energy, creating a new truth, a new belief around who we are. So there can be like this, I feel like this flare of individuality and uniqueness, which is also supported by the Aquarian energy, so it feels like it's like shaking us up of the contemporary and like the old rigid kind of forms, and in that kind of shaking up of things, we are getting to explore, this uniqueness that we're getting to explore our true nature, and all of who we actually are when we're connecting with our soul, Pluto, and our uniqueness, Aquarius, but we're also all part of the same water, right? We're all part of the same ocean, but we are unique notes or frequencies or essences within that. So, I find the Aquarian energy is really supportive for tapping into the collective, the field of consciousness, but then also finding our unique flavor within that. So if we was all playing the same note, it wouldn't be a very exciting song, would it? So we're creating an orchestra of humanity by tapping into our unique talents and gifts and frequencies. And so building structures from that. So how can we return to the source of who we are and create the dream? Neptune and Venus in Pisces, create our dream, vision our dream. So we could find around the time of this new moon really doing vision boards, creating a big piece of paper, and like we could stick lots of different things on it, or we could do some art, or we could do some words, or just get that vision on a piece of paper and stick it on our wall and look at it every day. Who are we really? What are we here to create? What is important to us now? And I think by centering on that vision, this is where the new structures are going to be built for the next few years while we're in Aquarius. It feels like coming back to that uniqueness and those talents and those gifts and all of these areas, that we want to explore. Pluto, when he moves into Capricorn, he's also going to be transforming the old structures and systems of Capricorn. So in a way, while he's moving through Capricorn, there will be so much change happening, in our monetary systems, in the patriarchy, like the father figure type aspect. So while that's happening, we could be transforming ourselves, to create structures that are more serving to who we really are, realigning to more renewable energy sources as well. And it could be a really good time to be looking into more sustainable ways of living, or housing, or being in community. It's been coming up a lot for me recently, actually, and I think this is to do with this T-square with Pallas and Ceres. It's like the mother, because obviously I'm a mother of 2 children. It's my first role at the moment. So, and how, we're not designed to be solitary parents, and actually, when I'm thinking about community and how much easier it is parenting when there's other parents and other children around and we're all doing it together. I've created something called the Mama Village, which is like a group of us and we all get together and we hang out, and I can relax and the kids run around and it's like, oh, this is how it needs to be. Because when we're in our little containers and little boxes, and it's like it can feel so isolating, so I feel like this Saturn in Aquarius, it's bringing us more into the community, more into tribes, villages, really extending out our network to it actually creates more ease by being together. And then, of course, when we're doing all of this, there will be stuff rising, which is like the collective wounds, the sisterhood wounds, the family wounds, the wounds, but I feel like this is as well part of the healing. Like we have to move out of the old structures that haven't been working for so long. It's actually damaging the planet the way that we're living. And when we are coming together and drawing our resources together, it feels like, that's really the way forward now. So, we're working on projects here, of doing growing together and different things, and parenting together and schooling together. And what does that look like? What does this new world look like? So this could be a really good thing to do around the time of this new moon to really, really vision that. I was planning to make a vision board as well, so I think I'm going to do that in the next few days to get down my visions for this new world, because that's what it feels like. It feels like a new world. And the guardians of the sky, or the four royal stars, they are really marking this cycle. Our first quarter moon will be in Taurus. Yeah, so that's on the 27th. Where is it? So the first quarter moon, which will be in Taurus, where are I? Down here? Yeah, quite close to Mars, but also very close to Aldebaran, which is the royal star of the East. So this is the building of the cycle. So this is the seeding of the cycle here in Aquarius. This is the new beginning, and it's at the source, at the fountain of life. It's a good place to start, and then we're moving around. This is the building energy. So wow, we could be feeling a lot building in us, around the time of this first quarter moon, and together with Mars as well. We could be really feeling quite dynamic in that building. We could be actually getting out on the land and starting to move around physically. We could be circulating in groups, as the Saturn energy in Aquarius. We could be gathering together in communities and talking about, things that we could build. Very creative energy, and very sensual energy as well. Like Taurian energy with the moon and Mars feels very sensual, very beautiful. It's like ruled by Venus. So, what can we build that is beautiful, and also, which is, I feel like the Taurian energy is very kind of new earth energy. It's young earth. It's like the younger aspect of Venus, which I connect to like Aphrodite kind of energy. So this could feel like this building energy of the first quarter moon. It's like we're building towards something. We are putting our energy towards something. So all of this fountain of youth that we've tapped into at the new moon was such a place of wisdom, with our intuition, and we are tuning into, our gifts and our talents, and then we are using the energy of this first quarter moon to really start, and Mars and Aldebaran, to really start moving it, to really start building it. And obviously, look at all of this pile up in Pisces, a Pisces pile up. So this could be really dreamy. We could be really tuning into our creativity at this time. The Pisces energy is very creative. So and Venus being there as well, it's like, wow, we could be tapping. Oh my gosh, look, I just realized Venus and Jupiter are together, which is lovely. Really nice. Wow. So we're really expanding on all that we love around the time of this first quarter moon. And what are we building to? What's the high point of the cycle? Is the full moon in Leo. So full moon in Leo, 7th of March. Wow, let's add some fire to all this water, shall we? Yeah, so I mean, it's pretty close to Regulus. Obviously, the sun is opposing the moon, so and the energy of Leo, we know, is very creative, it's very fiery, it's very powerful energy, the lion. So, when by the time we get to this full moon, we could actually be starting to share some of our gifts and talents. We could be actually starting to, yeah, to see what that is for us, all of these things that we were dreaming in, around the new moon. By the time we get to the full moon, we may actually get an opportunity to try some of it out. Oh my goodness. And look, I've just noticed. So we've got Pluto making a T-square to the node still, but then we've also got, look at this, Black Moon Lilith is also squaring the nodes. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Oh my goodness. Whew, that feels quite explosive, doesn't it? And it's like, oh wow. So Black Moon Lilith is connected to fears, but in Cancer, it could be around security. We may be feeling afraid to break out of our shell. We may be feeling like we don't want to be rejected or abandoned, so there might be this fear of like, yeah, being exposed or being, out of control. But then the Leo energy and the Aquarian energy is just like, wow, here I am. This is my unique version of me. But, there could also be a real edge. We're transforming here. We're transforming into like this new version of ourselves. And we don't know what it's going to look like on the other side of all these big planetary shifts. And all we can do is tune into our intuition and our, what we really love, and our heart, what it is that we really want to be doing and spending our energy doing and being. There could be feeling like around the time of this full moon that it's like so much is changing, we could feel like we are being pushed at the edge of our fears, to really break out of our shell and explore who we really are. And yeah, aspects of us that have been hidden, and actually being a bit more brave. The Leo energy is about, like in the Wizard of Oz, and Dorothy and the lion, the Wizard of Oz, it's all about courage. So there could be an act of courage happening around the time of this full moon. And then the last quarter moon will be in on the 15th of March, and this will be in a Fucus, and it's really close to Shula, and just past Antares. So, wow. I'm not going too deeply into the aspects of all of it because I just want to do an overview of the whole cycle, and I will come back at the full moon and talk about what else I see. But yeah, so the waning moon is so we've had the high point of the full moon and things are coming backwards. Now we're coming back to ourselves, we're returning. It's the autumn, it's the letting go. So by the time we get to the last quarter moon, we're really starting to reflect on what's happened at the full moon mountain, and we're starting to come back down. So the energy of a Fucus, I really connect to descending as well, down the mountain, back to the womb. And so this is a really lovely energy, to go to be exploring, going back down and in. And yeah, so that energy feels like, okay, so this whole cycle, there's going to be things in us that are coming up, things in us that we are wanting to explore and share, and but there's also going to be lots of stuff coming up for healing as well. So the time of this last quarter moon can be really healing, you know, to really come back to ourselves, come back to our hearts, come back to all of the things that have been coming up, and really listen to ourselves. And could be like a real week of healing, I feel, and before we come into our new moon in Pisces. So oh yeah, so that by the time of the last quarter moon, look, the sun will have moved into Pisces and will be conjunct Neptune and Mercury. Wow, this is a real Pisces party because these are all in Pisces as well. Look. So yeah, wow, amazing. So what a cycle, hey? So I'm going to stop sharing that screen now. Yeah, if you have any questions, just please get in touch. Yeah, I really love doing this. So if you love it, if you love watching me and listening to me, please do share and subscribe. And yeah, I will see you in a couple of weeks around the full moon. All right, so much love, darlings. Ciao, ciao.